me or punch me because people are like hardcore into one or the other.
Yeah.
And like I think there's no improving the classic Harley, but the classic Harley wouldn't have worked for the Arkham games.
Right.
You know? It's like it's a girl in spandex. It's like so that's when I kind of like rock a fighter, like punk rock a fighter. But it was never because I wanted her to like suicide girl her up. It was just like because to me the game was like so hardcore and so industrial. It wouldn't make sense to have this girl in Lycra, you know.
So you're responsible for that design?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, but it's like, but it was a very functional. Well, for me anyway, right? It's like I grew up in the '80s. Well, like the '80s, '90s. I grew up with like Joan Jett. And I grew up with like you know. Like you know, kind of like Motley Crue and Iron Maiden and Judas Priest. So I was kind of like thinking more about that, like a lot of like spikes and metal, because to me the Joker and Harley, and like Sid and Nancy, like, they're just a very destructive, messed up couple. So to me, it just kind of made sense that for a very industrial game, she needed to go to the acid kind of thing, you know. But I never expected that to become her look, which honestly I'm not crazy about.
No, I love it, man.
You know, but it's because I'm such a big fan of Bruce Timm.
Oh yeah.
But I kind of wish they would have kept both. You know what I mean? Because like the classic is just so iconic. Well, it's also cool though because I think now with the Arkham book, it also allowed artists to individualize her. So it's like that's why they're like changing her outfit all the time, which in itself is also kind of cool. Yeah. Like as long as you have you know, it's almost like the idea of like a jester hat, of course, where they do the ponytails or the actual jester hat. But that's why I did that one on purpose. It ended up being used in Arkham City. Like I wanted her to have the Arkham outfit, but I wanted to give her the hat because I love the hat. And I did it just for myself, but then they were like, you know what, we need a promo image for Arkham City. We have anything, so we need it by yesterday. I was like, oh, I got this one already done. So that ended up being used for Arkham City. But it was just for myself because I wanted the Arkham outfit, but with the hat on. Yeah. And that's why I did the hat and hat too, as like an homage to the new version and the classic.
Gotcha.
What's your favorite project that you've worked on?
Man, you know what? It's there's a lot of them, but I think partly also maybe because of a little bit of nostalgia. There was a particular in the '90s called Brass, which didn't sell very well because I think it was just like maybe enough project for the time. But I really enjoyed the writing. I worked with Richard Bennett, who's an amazing artist. He also used to work at Lost World. Right now, mainly he does movie work. Like he worked on like the new King Kong movie, and he worked on Tron, and I think he worked on Ghost in the Shell. So he just kind of like went and did the Hollywood thing. But he's an amazing artist, and I got to collaborate with him. So in terms of just like the collaboration, that is probably one of the ones that I remember the fondest, you know, because that's like the really cool thing about comics, like being able to collaborate with people that you really respect.
Yeah.
And that one was very fulfilling in that sense. But dude, besides that though, I've been super fortunate too. I mean, I got to work on Arkham, I got to work on Star Wars. You know, being able to work with Brian Wood on Star Wars was super fulfilling. I worked on Lego Bionicle before it blew up. I mean, I had no idea that was going to become like a Pokemon of its day. The funny story, I remember we had a signing at Toys R Us in Times Square for Bionicle. So I don't know if you remember that, but like they were like these Lego toys, but they were kind of going more like the action figure route.
Okay.
So they didn't have as many pieces.
Yeah. Okay.
And the collector aspect, which was very smart from Lego, was that all the characters had different like helmet mask things. And like depending on the color, it would give you certain powers and blah blah blah. And I remember for that signing, they were actually auctioning 2 solid gold masks. Like they were made of gold.
Wow.
One was being auctioned in Germany or somewhere over there, and one was being auctioned at the New York. I think it was on Toys R Us. And dude, it was crazy because here you are signing for a toy line and it's just filled with kids. We needed security to go out to the sighting area because kids were just like, yeah! So it was just the funniest. It's like,
awesome.
I've never needed anything like that except that I Toys R Us because the kids were going crazy for the little mask, you know? So, you know, it's like I've had the really good fortune of being there before things get too scrutinized, you know what I mean? Where you just get to have fun. Because once something becomes very successful, there are all these expectations, which are more financial than creative. And I've gotten at the sweet spot where I get at the creative, where there's no like, well, this makes money. It's like, no, just make something good.
Right.
So that's always been really fun. You know what? I get asked who's my favorite character quite a bit, but I don't really have one because in my experience, you know, now that I'm an old man in this business, it's in my experience that a lot of the times the character that you really, really want to draw, if it's being written in a boring way, you end up drawing Wolverine having cafe with Jubilee during a whole issue. And I think it was Alan Moore in some article that was saying that there's really no such thing as a bad character, only good or bad writing. And I'm a believer in that. Like it's like there are certain characters that everybody has to like scratch out their list, right? Like I got to work on Batman, I got to draw Superman, I got to draw, you know, Star Wars. But if they weren't well written, it's really not that much fun because comic books are so time consuming that you end up married to a character for at the very least a month nonstop. So to me, it's not really so much about the character as much as it's a good story. You know, it could be a book about, I don't know, like a newspaper boy. And if it's a cool story, it'll make it cool.
Sure.
You know? Yeah. But that's one of those two where it's funny because you can have it with like writers like Brian Azzarello, you know, you can have like these very like nerdy questions with like very, very serious writers. And I remember years ago, because like for example, like you always have a question of like, oh, who would win?
Yeah.
Batman or Superman?
Right.
And it's like, dude, Superman. I mean, it's like, of course, it's
No contest.
yeah, it's like, it doesn't really matter how fast you are. And this guy, Superman is like, if he has like the speed of thought, it doesn't really matter how smart you are. He's gonna beat you. Which in itself makes it that's what makes, I think, Superman like a problematic character to write.
Right.
Because when you have a character that's not powerful, it's hard to empathize with him because he's basically a god. So I think that's always been the really tricky thing about writing Superman. You know, like how do you humanize a character that's that omnipotent? So with that said, I would love to work on Grendel. In the 90s, Matt Wagner had a book coming out called one was Grendel and another was Grendel Prime. I don't know if you ever read any of that. It was like this amazing world building series. And Grendel, the one that happened like in, I guess, modern continuity, was this, he was almost like what if Batman went bad? Like the super intelligent guy.
Okay, I do remember that.
You know, kind of like the skinny one.
Right.
That had like the black mask with I love that character. But mainly because of the writing. Like the writing was amazing. And then Matt Wagner, the creator of Grendel, created Grendel Prime, which was in the future. And he was like, well, what if Grendel became almost like a godlike figure, and he had like the whole world became Grendel. And so it was really cool because it almost became like a samurai thing, where there were like Grendel clans, and then you have like very samurai. Like you had like the poor clans, you had the rich clans, you had the villagers, but it's like all the warriors were Grendel warriors. And then there was this one. I mean, it's very convoluted, but there was like this one character called Grendel Prime who had been programmed by blah 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 to save this kid, and he was like this like very like badass like heavy metal, fully leather clad monster dressed in black with spikes, and he's gonna take a kid from point A to point B. But of course, the travel is hellish, and they're fighting everybody, and everybody's looking for this kid, and the world was just like, that's one of those shows like, man, I hope HBO or Netflix or somebody picks it up because the world is so rich, it's so awesome, and I would love to do stuff with Grendel. But like to live in that world for a little bit. Grendel Prime is like a pretty thick book. I think it has like the 12 issue miniseries. And one of my favorite books of all time.
Okay.
It's Grendel Tales, and the story is called Devils and Dents. One of my all-time favorite books.
Okay.
It was drawn by this guy, Edmund Yukovic, who regretfully passed away in the late 90s, I believe. Amazing artist. And the writer was, what's his name? His last name is Khan. But these guys, I think, were I think they're Croatian. And they were like, kind of like in the late 90s when there was like all that mess going on in Bosnia. Like, those guys were living it while they were drawing this book. And it's almost like some of the Dark Horse guys, they were like, yeah, it's like we've been talking to Edmund or to Dark, and they were like, no, we're fine. The bombing is like 10 miles away. Like, miles. But because the story is very much about that, about like this post-war poor villages, and it was being drawn by these guys that were living it feels like. And dude, it's like Devils and Dents, one of my favorite shows. I mean, I think it was like the trade for Devils and Dents collects all the work that those two guys did for Dark Horse. I think it's like maybe 6 or 7 issues in the trade.
Okay.
Beautiful storytelling. The art isn't like sexy overhatched. It's just really, really good. And solid storytelling. And the story is amazing. Like that. Whenever people ask me what's one of your favorite books, it's like, yeah, your classic. Like, well, Dark Knight and Watchmen. But one of my all-time favorites, if not like my top, now, Devils and Dents, which is in the same world, but of all the poor clans, and like all the clans fighting each other.
Okay.
And it's like backstabbings, and I mean it's hard. It's very Game of Thrones-ish. Like very few times does a comic book make me sad. Like you're like, oh man, that was messed up. This one has some scenes where you're just like just very like the storytelling was very emotional. The writing was very emotional, but I think it was because these guys were in a war-torn country when they were writing and enjoying it.
Right.
So they got it. Yeah. But I always recommend that one.
Yeah, check it out. For sure.
I recommend Grendel Tales, Devils and Dents. But yeah, I mean, that's one of those. If you get it, if you read it, you're gonna be like, man, this needs to be not a movie. It needs to be a good mini-series. Yeah. Because the characters are likable, the storytelling is like super cinematic. Like you can see it being like just a really good show. Another one of my favorite books out there right now, which I'm highly gonna plug, go buy it, people, is Rumble by James Herron, written by John Arcudi. I don't know if you've seen it. It's insane.
Yeah.
The art's amazing, really quirky. James Herron is one of my favorite artists right now. It's like this trippy mix of like Jack Kirby with anime. It's insane. Like he draws the weirdest monsters. And basically, Rumble, it's this. He's like a Thor type guy, but he like fought. It's kind of like Greek mythology, right? Where like this like lesser gods fought the higher gods, and he got punished, so he got taken. Kind of like Thor from Marvel, where in order to humble him, they took away his hammer and made him into a human. And this is kind of similar, where it's like this war god who would fight other war gods.
Like God of War.
Yeah, like he gets vanished into a straw man, like literally into this like scarecrow.
Oh wow.
So the character designs are amazing. He's fighting all these demons, but half of the demons, because of the way that James Herron draws them, they're really funny. Like they're, it's like he draws the trippiest, weirdest stuff. And it's really funny and crazy. So So that's another book that I highly recommend. Rumble. It comes out through Image.
Okay.
Yeah, amazing book.
How much are you getting paid for that?
Well, if they want to pay, no, this is like, well, because it's like, those books need support, right? It's like, everybody knows who Batman is, everybody knows the X-Men. Like, these other books need, like, people are always complaining that they want to see new stuff, and then when new stuff shows up, they don't buy it.
Exactly.
Like, you have to support what you like with your wallet.
It's like movies.
Yeah, just like movies, right? It's like, oh man, I'm tired of this. Well, support smaller movies.
Right.
So it's like, John Arcudi and Jake Herring are doing such an amazing job on this that it needs to be seen because it's such a good book. Yeah. Like more eyeballs need to be on it.
Right.
There's another book too that it's I think it started being published in the US now. I don't know who's publishing it, but it's a French book called Jazz Maynard. And the art is amazing. And the whole book is about like this jazz player who happens to be like this badass fighter. And it's going on, this one is like noir, detective type things, but the art is amazing, the action's amazing. Well, that's a French book. Black Sad. You've seen Black Sad? Black Sad's another one too. I think Dark Horse published Black Sad in the US, but that's by Juanjo Ravido. He's a guy that used to work, I believe, for Disney Europe. And it's a beautiful book. And the whole thing is about like this black cat who's a detective. It's like very Disney-esque. If Disney was hardcore, there's like this black cat that's a detective, and he's like investigating crimes. But the drawings are amazing, the stories are awesome, very noir. That one's called Black Sad, another amazing book. I don't know if you guys ever read when Kevin Smith was making Jay and Silent Bob, you know, about like the comic books.
Yeah.
There was one that was drawn by Duncan Fegredo, another one of my favorite artists. This guy, I think he's Scottish. But the best Jay and Silent Bob movie is a comic book. And I think it's just called Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, which was a prequel to the last Jay and Silent Bob movie. It's funny as hell. The art's amazing. It's the best Kevin Smith movie. It just happens to be a comic. Then I think it's just called Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back.
Okay.
But like everything is amazing.
Just like
and actually
the same title as the movie?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And it basically ends where the movie starts.
Okay.
But it's funny as hell. Yeah.
Yeah, I love this movie.
I won't tell you all the crazy stuff that's in there, but it's crazy.
Okay.
There's like orangutans and porn stars and Doogie Howser.
Sounds like my kind of.
It's funny as hell, man. And the art's amazing. Amazing art.